Your fingers are different from everyone else. Each of 7 billion individuals now in the world. Faces can lie, but fingerprints never lie. Do identical twins have the same fingerprint arrangement?
आपका क्या नाम है बेटा?
कविष्का चौधरी।
कविष्का चौधरी। और आपका?
कृतिका चौधरी।
कृतिका चौधरी और कविष्का चौधरी। आप में से बड़ा कौन है? कितनी बड़े हो आप?
10 minutes।
उठाओ यहाँ से, डाल दो, बस प्रेस कर दो। राइट हैंड, लेफ्ट हैंड एंड प्लेन प्रिंट्स, राइट हैंड एंड लेफ्ट हैंड और थम्स लेफ्ट।
Have a quick recap of basics of DNA. Deoxyribonucleic acid.
Have you ever wondered how your DNA looks like? You already know that it is a double helix. But what is DNA anyway? Well, it is your genes. Your genes make what you are. So, your DNA has all the instructions for making your hair, your eyes, your nose, your lips, your heart, and your brain. And for everything, there is instruction to make that. DNA is so important that is not floating around in our body. It is kept in a safe place, and the safe place is inside our cells. We are made up of trillions of cells, all the cells of our body, our muscle cells, our blood cells, our skin cells, our brain cells. Each cell has nearly 2 meters of DNA packed into them.
then we add 1 ml of blood. Mix it. Then incubate this sample at -20 degrees centigrade in a fridge. After incubating the sample for 2 hours, I am shifting this sample to 60 degrees centigrade in oven. This is hot air oven. It maintains 60 degrees centigrade temperature, which is required to break down the cells in the blood. This is refrigerated centrifuge. Now I am setting speed at 4600 rpm and time at 15 minutes. After setting the speed and time, we need to centrifuge the tubes.
Sir, why do you require two tubes?
Okay, we need balance. And then start. After centrifugation, I discard the or we can vortex for the mixing. After vortexing, I put the sample in water bath, which maintains 37 degrees centigrade. I am adding 1 ml of fish saturated phenol. This is a chemical which extracts our DNA. Now we mix this sample for 15 minutes and then centrifuge it for 15 minutes. After centrifugation, the sample is divided into two phases. The lower phase is organic phase, which contain all the cell debris. The upper phase is aqueous phase, which contain your DNA. There is a protein layer in between the two phases, which you have to avoid. Now I am separating the aqueous layer in another tube. This contains your DNA. To precipitate the DNA, I add one positive ion because DNA is a negatively charged particle, and chilled propanol. Now we precipitate the DNA.
Typically, DNA content of about 100,000 cells or about 1 microgram of DNA is usually sufficient.
See, this technique of DNA fingerprinting has been started by Professor Alec Jeffreys from UK. Interestingly, he is not a man of forensics. He is a man from genetics background basically. He was working on myoglobin gene, where he found there are variable number of tandem repeats, and he found that these variable number of tandem repeats or VNTRs are helpful in establishing the identity of an individual, and thus named this technique as the DNA fingerprinting.
When Dr. Alec Jeffrey discovered this technique, he called it DNA fingerprinting, and most of the people still continue to call that way, but appropriately it should be called DNA profiling.
That's correct. That's correct.
Special enzymes called restriction enzymes are then added to DNA. With restriction enzymes, biotechnologists have a pair of molecular scissors. For instance, an enzyme named EcoR1 found in a gut bacterium, Escherichia coli. It will cut DNA only when the recognition sequence GAA-TTC occurs, the result being both ends have a single stranded area called the sticky ends. And this enzyme cuts both strands with even blunt ends like this. Classical DNA profiling is carried out as a restriction fragment length analysis, or in short, RFLA.
This technique is called electrophoresis.
So what is electrophoresis?
Basically, it's a separating technique. We separate the molecule on the basis of their size. So this is 0.4 gram agarose in 50 ml TBE buffer. So it is 0.8% agarose. This is casting tray. I block the ends with these blockers. These are combs which are used to make holes. Now we add 5 microliter of ethidium bromide. This is ethidium bromide. It's an fluorescent dye. We mix it. And pour in a casting tray. Now leave this say around 15 minutes so that it can solidify. Now gel is ready, so we remove these combs. Remove the blockers also. This is electrophoretic tank. This is TBE buffer. It acts as an electrolyte. We should dip the gel. So with the help of loading die, mix this DNA with loading die. So now we connect this electrophoretic unit with electrical supply. We can set the volt. So now we set volt at 80.
This is electrophoresis setup, a biotechnology equivalent of screening sand through progressively finer mesh screens.
Because the DNA is negatively charged particle, so it moves towards anode.
Dark bands resemble the barcodes used by library scanners to identify books. If sufficient amount of DNA is not available for any reason, then what can be done? In 1983, Kary Mullis and his co-workers Michael Smith discovered a new technique. It is called polymerase chain reaction, in short PCR. It mimics nature's way of replicating DNA. This is sort of molecular photocopying, relatively rapid and cheap.
With the help of this technique, we can make number of copies from a single DNA. PCR involves 3 steps: denaturation, annealing and extension. In denaturation, double stranded becomes single stranded. Then it goes to the denaturation, which is 94 degrees centigrade at 11 minutes. In annealing, DNTPs or small fragments of DNA will attach to the template DNA. Annealing 59 degrees centigrade for 1 minute and extension is at 72 degrees centigrade for 1 minute. And in extension, tag polymerase will continue the whole sequence.
Thanks to this quick cloning, unlimited copies of a single molecule of DNA can be made. For example, after 30 cycles, what began as a single molecule of DNA has been amplified into more than 1 billion copies.
It has primer set, tag polymerase, and reaction mixture, which contain your DNTP, MgCl2 and buffer. So we vortex the sample and then centrifuge. Then we shift this sample to the PCR machine. This is machine block. You put the sample and then close the lid. So now we run the PCR. Then we start. It asks how much volume you have in your sample. So we adjust the volume and then start. So in this, it will show that it do initial denaturation, which is at 95 degrees centigrade for 11 minutes. Then it goes to the denaturation, which is 94 degrees centigrade for 1 minute, annealing 59 degrees centigrade for 1 minute, and extension is at 72 degrees centigrade for 1 minute. It automatically goes to final annealing, which is 60 degrees centigrade for 60 minutes. And finally hold is at 4 degrees centigrade.
In the human genome, we have 4 alphabets, A, T, G, C. And it is the combination of these A, T, G, C which is variable among the individuals. The sequence of this A, T, G, C, how many times it is repeated in a particular sequence, which is repeated like in a few there it may be 4 times, sometimes it's 5 or 6, which makes a basis for the identity of an individual.
A number of these so-called short tandem repeats or STRs form the basis of modern advanced DNA profiling.
We have the commercial kits available where we do identification of an individual simultaneously at 16 different loci, which includes 15 autosomal and 1 sex chromosome.
This is amplified DNA after PCR. We mix this DNA with this size standard and high dye formamide in an appropriate ratio. Then we put this solution in this 96 well plate. We cover this plate with septa. Then we put this plate in plate holding. Now the sample is ready to run in the genetic analyzer. This is for capillary. This is for electrophoresis of DNA. After installing in the genetic analyzer, it separates DNA according to its molecular weight. And this is reading area. These 4 capillaries are used to separate different length of DNA. So after run in genetic analyzer, machine has done his work. Now this is the result. So in our kit we use 4 fluorescent dye. These 4 locus D8S1179, D21S11, D7S820 and CSF5PO labeled with blue dye, these 5 locus labeled with green dye, these 4 locus labeled with yellow dye, and these 3 with red dye. In this locus, this allele is homozygous. At this locus D21S11, these allele 29 and 30. So in this case, this is heterozygous. As we see this is a locus amyloigenic, so we can see both X and Y amplified, so it is a male individual.
So, the latest tests look for things called SNPs, short for single nucleotide polymorphisms. You might have a C at one position and I might have a T.
Now the thing is, one nucleotide change not ATGC, it can be either A or either T or G or C. And with this one change, the whole sequence, it does not amplify the way it has amplified where there is no change.
What is the probability of this technique to resolve a case of conflict? As a conservative estimate, the odds that two individuals would have all the markers now used in DNA profiling is 1 in 1 quadrillion, which is more than many times of the human population in the world. DNA is a silent witness. It does not talk, but the scientist's job is to find the truth, what the evidence tells. Can this technique be used for not only the guilt but innocence of the person? The fate of this innocent or criminal was grim till science began solving crime. This left lane contains a DNA ladder, a sort of barcode. The right lane reveals the individual fragment of DNA found at the site of crime. DNA profile from first suspect, suspect 1. DNA profile from second suspect, suspect 2. Is the first suspect guilty? DNA ladder, a sort of barcode. Markers, a set of human DNA fragments of known and decreasing length. This is to ensure that the probes are still performing properly. The DNA bands produced by the first suspect exactly match the bands from the samples. Great job, detective! Identical twins, Kritika and Kavishka, have fingerprints that are distinct, almost different. At the same time, there is remarkable resemblance in their DNA profiles. They have the closest genetic makeup, and so they share 99.9% same DNA. So, such test can be used for inclusion as well as exclusion. Pondering question. One can ask, why identical twins have remarkably similar DNA profiles but distinctly different fingerprints?